guys, it's Shania from the Red Fairy Project. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to see you. I'm always so excited to do these videos, and this one in particular I'm really excited about because it's actually something that I've seen so many people struggle with and that I've struggled with, and I still kind of struggle with, but very recently, and it has to do actually with this video. So anyways, it's all about stepping outside our comfort zone and learning to be a beginner. So stay tuned. Want to make sure though that you click the beautiful subscribe button below if you're on YouTube, if you haven't done so already. If you're on redfairyproject.com, make sure that you sign up for the weekly newsletter. It's always filled with value, great stuff. It lets you know when my my latest video comes out, and it's a little more reliable than social media. I mean, I'm obsessed with social media, but there's just so much stuff going on there that we can miss some really inspiring content. So being a beginner, I have to say that I kind of really suck at being a beginner. And I think if you're a perfectionist like I am, I'm working very hard at being less of a perfectionist, but it's still kind of who I am deep down inside. You just want to be really good at everything from the get-go, and that's kind of ridiculous. You gotta, okay, the first thing you really have to do, and we're in this together, I'm working on this a heck of a lot, is just accepting that you're kind of gonna suck in the beginning, and that's just part of the game. And everybody goes through that when they start something, when they're the beginner at something. I'll give you a really concrete example. Videos. I haven't been doing videos for that long, and I was terrified of doing videos. I thought about it for about, I would say, 2 or 3 years before I actually started doing videos. It sounds kind of ridiculous, but you know, I'm putting myself out there, and you know, you feel vulnerable and you're like wondering what are people going to think and whatnot. So you can apply these exact same fears to pretty much anything that you're going to do and that you're going to be a beginner at, right? So for a while, and I still consider myself a beginner at doing videos, but when I look at my really early videos, like it was maybe a year ago, oh, I find that a bit cringeworthy. And even the videos I'm doing now, for me, they're not necessarily up to the standard that I want, but the only way that I'm going to get better is by doing more and more of them. So it's the only way that you can become an expert at anything or become good at anything is by practicing. And the first obstacle that you really need to remove is that fear or that resistance to sucking, basically. And it's a really hard one. It's a really hard one, but it's just part of the game. And I'm actually going to leave a link below for a podcast that my friend Jennifer did on this, and it's something about like the art of being mediocre or something like that. Anyways, it's a really good podcast, and I find that she's really good at that. She's not afraid to like just try something new and sucking at it, and people see it and it doesn't matter, and then she does more and more, and then she becomes really good. And you just gotta accept that you might not be great at something to start off, and these videos are a good example. I love doing them now. I'm still, as I said, not maybe up to like the standard that I want, but I hope they're getting better. You guys let me know. And I'm really happy that I'm doing that, and I get I get feedback on a regular basis from people saying that they are providing good value. So imagine if I hadn't started those videos because I was afraid of sucking as a beginner. So that is the first thing you really have to just push aside, that fear of sucking. But what can you say? It's just part of learning something new. We also have to accept that making a mistake doesn't make us any less of an amazing person. And depending on how we were raised or just how we are as individuals, sometimes we think that if we're not perfect or if we make a mistake, we're not going to be as worthy or as loved. And this is something that might be more subconscious. We might not realize that we have these fears, but often that's the case. When we do have this fear of not performing well or not being perfect or not being good at something. And I can say personally, it was a fear that I had, and it was partly me judging myself, being really hard on myself, but then partly maybe disappointing people around me, or that is a huge thing, obviously, is this fear of what other people will think. But, and I'll talk about that in a moment, but really just knowing that you're not any different of a person if you try something and you make a mistake or you're not good at it. Like you stay the same person. In fact, for me, it makes you a better person because at least you tried. So speaking about the fear of what other people think, one thing that we have to put in our little heads is we cannot control what other people will think. We might believe that we're kicking ass, that we're a rock star, that we're doing amazing work, and somebody somewhere might be talking behind our back, talking shit about us, saying that we suck at this, or that, oh, look at she did that, and whatnot. And we might think that we're, amazing, and somebody's saying something negative somewhere, or maybe not. Maybe we're paranoid that people are, saying, oh, I can't believe she did that. Did you see the mistake she made? Or whatever it is, and nobody's even saying that. So we can make up a lot of drama in our heads about what other people think, and we can spend a heck of a lot of energy trying to control what other people think. When you say it out loud, like I just did, it kind of sounds crazy, right? So we need to just let that go. It's a work in progress for me. I used to be really obsessed with other people thought. I'm better now, still working on it, and definitely doing stuff like this makes me kind of detach from it because I don't have a choice. I wouldn't be doing anything with my blog or my videos or anything like that if I was constantly preoccupied with what other people thought, or if I let it stop me from taking action. So that's a daily practice of really letting that go, because it can stop us from doing a lot of amazing things and having a lot of amazing experiences, which kind of brings me to my other point, which is it's really, really easy to be on the sidelines criticizing others that are in the arena getting their butt kicks, or at least they're in the arena giving it their all. And I feel like people do that sometimes. People criticize, whether it's, online, on social media, behind other people's back, or in person, whatever, directly, because there is maybe a part of jealousy of they wish they were doing that, or maybe they wish they had the courage to do something that they have in mind that they would like to do. They do it to feel better about themselves. And yeah, it's just really easy. It's really, really easy to criticize other people that are doing stuff while you're just sitting there safely and just kind of watching. So for me, people that do that, they don't have a lot of credibility in my mind, and they're usually doing that for the wrong reasons. It's not to say to not be open to criticism, constructive criticism, especially at the beginning, you're learning and all that, right? It really depends who it comes from, what's the intention behind the comment, and usually we're smart enough to detect the actual nature of the comment. And finally, you really want to celebrate all the small victories that happen, especially when you're a beginner, especially when you're new. Like at first, the first small victory will be, well, you got started. You're actually doing it. So for me, it was, well, I actually put a video out there, even though I was terrified to do it for 2 years. And at first, it's the quality of what you're going to do is probably not going to be that great. So you don't want your value, your kind of self-worth to rest on that. But it's like, hey, I did it. All right, I was courageous enough to show up for myself and give it a try. And even when you suck at first, you're learning, right? So even if you try something and you fail, there's often some lesson to learn. So there's always something positive that can come out of it. And you really have to put our ego to the side and just honestly do what's calling us. So celebrate those small victories, and remember to always focus on progress over perfection, because if you set the bar too high for yourself, you're likely going to be disappointed, discouraged, and you might quit, which it would be a shame. And if ever you want to quit just because you try something and you realize you don't like it, that's another story, and that's completely fine. But if you just try a couple of times and you suck and you're like, oh, this isn't for me. And I've been known to do that when I have to say a few things in my life that I remember saying, yeah, after 2 times, just because I wasn't great at it, I just quit, which, to this day, I'm like, this is really ridiculous. And actually, I have to say that my boyfriend is so perseverant and patient and determined, and I really admire that. And he's been a great example for me to not just quit because I'm not good at something from the get-go. I really admire him for that. I love you, honey. You're so wonderful. So is there something that you have been thinking of trying for the longest time and you haven't because you're like, oh, I'm going to suck? So why don't you let me know in the comments below, whether you're on YouTube or on my blog. I would love to know. As I said, I gave you a very personal, concrete example of starting these videos. And I would love to know if there's something that maybe you tried and finally you practiced with time and you got really good, or something maybe you're just thinking about right now. Let me know below. And remember to subscribe. And if you're watching this on YouTube, if you enjoy this video, if you feel that it brought value, give it a thumbs up. And that way, you know, I know what kind of content that you guys enjoy and I can share more of it for you. So I love you very much. Thank you for watching and I will see you next week. Love you. Bye.